When Owen Campbell fled into the Kentucky wilderness after Mason's body was discovered, he triggered the largest manhunt in Millfield County history. But as police search teams combed through dense forests and abandoned farmhouses, investigators uncovered evidence that would shatter everything the Campbell family claimed to believe about themselves. This wasn't just a case of sibling rivalry gone wrong. This was a family built on lies, manipulation, and violence that had been festering for generations. Tonight, I'll reveal how the Campbell family's darkest secrets created a killer, how years of abuse and cover-ups led to Mason's brutal murder, and how one family's desperate attempt to protect their reputation cost an innocent young man his life. The truth about the Campbell family legacy will disturb you, but in the judgment room, the truth always comes out.
I kept telling myself Owen would never really hurt Mason, but deep down I knew better. Owen's been angry since the day his parents died. His father, David, was everything to him, and when David died in that car accident 5 years ago, Owen just broke. Then his mother, Sarah, abandoned them both just weeks after the funeral. Said she couldn't handle 2 grieving boys and disappeared overnight. Owen never forgave her for that. He blamed everyone. Me, Robert, Mason, even his dead father. Started when Owen was 17. Throwing things when he got angry, hitting walls, screaming at anyone who crossed him. Robert and me, we felt so guilty about David's death, about Sarah leaving, that we tried to make up for it by being extra patient with Owen. We tried giving him help, counseling, anger management, even sent him to live with my sister for a while. Nothing worked. Owen always blames someone else for his problems. When Mason came to live with us permanently, Owen resented having to share attention, called Mason the favorite, and said we loved him more because Mason adapted better to losing his parents. That wasn't true, but Owen convinced himself it was. The violence started small, pushing Mason around, taking his things, making him do Owen's chores, but it escalated after Owen realized Mason inherited the store. 2 months before Mason disappeared, I found bruises on Mason's arms. When I asked him what happened, Mason just said he fell down. But I knew Owen was hurting him, and I didn't do enough to stop it. I was scared if we called the police, they'd split up what was left of our family. We'd already lost David and Sarah. I thought I could keep them safe by keeping them together. I was wrong. My silence got Mason killed.
As investigators dug deeper into Owen Campbell's background, they uncovered a disturbing pattern of escalating violence that his family had systematically hidden from authorities. School records showed Owen had been suspended multiple times for fighting, including one incident where he put another student in the hospital. Police reports revealed domestic disturbance calls to the Campbell property dating back 3 years, but charges were never filed because family members refused to cooperate with prosecutions. Most shocking of all, investigators discovered that Owen had been arrested for assault just 6 months before Mason's murder, but the charges were dropped when the victim, Mason himself, refused to testify against his brother. The attack had occurred at Campbell's General Store when Mason confronted Owen about stealing money. According to the police report, Owen had beaten Mason with a tire iron, leaving him with a concussion and broken ribs. Hospital records confirmed Mason's injuries were consistent with the attack, but Mason told doctors he had fallen from a ladder. The Campbell family had developed a sophisticated system of lies and cover-ups to protect Owen from consequences. Robert and Dorothy consistently provided alibis, paid medical bills in cash to avoid insurance investigations, and pressured Mason to remain silent about Owen's violence. This pattern of enabling had created a monster, and that monster had finally killed. Hidden beneath Mason Campbell's mattress, investigators found a journal that revealed the true horror of his final months. In his own words, Mason documented a campaign of systematic torture orchestrated by his older brother. Quote, "Owen says if I tell anyone about what he does to me, he'll burn down the store and blame me for it. Grandfather would never forgive me." Another entry from January. "Owen held my head underwater in the creek until I passed out. When I woke up, he was laughing. He said next time he might not let me up." The entries revealed that Owen's violence wasn't random. It was calculated psychological and physical abuse designed to break Mason's spirit and force him to give up his inheritance. Mason wrote about being locked in the store's basement overnight, being starved for days at a time, and being threatened with weapons. Most heartbreaking of all, Mason's final entry, dated February 13th, the day before his murder, read, "I can't take much more of this. Owen says he's going to kill me if I don't sign over the store. Part of me thinks dying would be easier than living in fear every day. But I can't let grandfather down. The store is all our family has left. Mason Campbell was trapped in a nightmare, terrorized by the very person who should have protected him. His journal entries would become crucial evidence in proving Owen's guilt, but they came too late to save Mason's life. After 5 days on the run, Owen Campbell was captured by state police at an abandoned hunting cabin 30 miles from the Campbell property. When officers surrounded the cabin, Owen emerged with his hands raised, but he was a broken man. Dehydrated, exhausted, and apparently consumed by guilt, Owen immediately confessed to killing his brother. His statement to Detective Mitchell was chilling in its matter-of-fact tone. "I didn't mean for it to go that far, but Mason wouldn't listen. Everyone always loved him more ever since Mom left us and Dad died. Dad gave him everything in that stupid will, and grandparents always took his side. He kept saying the store was his, that Daddy wanted him to have it, that I was too messed up to handle responsibility. I got so angry I couldn't see straight. 5 years of being the forgotten son, the problem child, the one everyone blamed for everything. I hit him with a fireplace poker until he stopped talking back to me." Owen described dragging Mason's unconscious body to his truck, driving to the woods, and burying him in a shallow grave. But Mason was still alive when Owen buried him, making this not just murder, but one of the most horrific crimes in Kentucky state history. Owen's confession revealed the true timeline of that Valentine's night. The violence had continued for hours after the family thought it was over. While Robert and Dorothy slept, believing their grandsons had reconciled, Owen was torturing and ultimately killing Mason in the basement of their home. The Campbell family's willful blindness to Owen's violence had enabled this tragedy, and now they would have to live with the consequences forever. Owen Campbell's trial became a showcase for the failures of a family system that prioritized reputation over safety. Dorothy Campbell testified through tears about the signs she had ignored, the violence she had witnessed but failed to report. Robert Campbell admitted that he had known Owen was dangerous, but convinced himself that family loyalty required protecting the abuser rather than the victim. The prosecution painted a picture of systematic family dysfunction that had created the perfect conditions for murder. Defense attorneys argued that Owen suffered from untreated mental illness and alcohol dependency, conditions his family had enabled rather than addressed. But the most damning testimony came from Mason's journal entries, read aloud in court by the prosecutor. As Mason's own words described months of torture and terror, Owen Campbell broke down completely, sobbing uncontrollably and repeatedly apologizing to his dead brother. The jury deliberated for less than 2 hours before returning a verdict of guilty on charges of first-degree murder, kidnapping, and abuse of a corpse. Owen Campbell was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. But for the Campbell family, no verdict could undo the tragedy they had enabled through years of denial, secrets, and misplaced loyalty. 3 lives had been destroyed. Mason was dead, Owen would die in prison, and Robert and Dorothy faced the rest of their lives knowing their choices had made this horror possible. The Campbell family tragedy sent shockwaves through rural Millfield County, forcing an entire community to confront uncomfortable truths about domestic violence and family secrets. Campbell's General Store, once the heart of the local economy, closed permanently after Mason's murder. The building now stands empty, a monument to a family's destruction and a young man's lost dreams. Local domestic violence advocates used the case to highlight the warning signs that neighbors and community members had missed or ignored. The Stevens family, who had heard the violence but failed to call police, started a foundation in Mason's memory dedicated to preventing family violence through community intervention. Churches throughout the county began offering programs for families in crisis, recognizing that silence and loyalty can become deadly when abuse is involved. The case also prompted changes in how Kentucky law enforcement responds to domestic violence calls, particularly in rural areas where families often resist outside intervention. Detective Mitchell, who led the investigation, became an advocate for mandatory reporting laws that would require family members to report suspected abuse rather than allowing them to protect abusers. But perhaps the most important lesson from the Campbell family tragedy is that love without accountability isn't love at all, it's enabling. Mason Campbell died because his family chose to protect his killer rather than his victim. That choice destroyed them all.
People keep asking us how we could have missed the signs, how we could have let this happen. Truth is, we didn't miss them. We ignored them. We knew Owen was dangerous. We knew he was hurting Mason. But we kept telling ourselves it was just normal sibling fighting, that boys will be boys, that family problems should stay in the family. We were wrong about everything. I think about Mason every single day. Think about how scared he must have been those last months, knowing his own brother wanted to kill him and feeling like he couldn't tell anyone. We failed that boy in every way possible. Dorothy and me, we've lost everything. Both our grandsons, our family business, our place in the community. But we deserve it. Mason didn't deserve what happened to him. He was a good kid who just wanted to make his family proud and build something positive with his life. Instead, he died alone and afraid because we were too proud and too stubborn to admit we had raised a killer. If other families are watching this, please learn from our mistakes. When someone in your family is violent, don't make excuses for them. Don't protect them. Get help. Call the police. Do whatever it takes to keep innocent people safe. Love shouldn't mean enabling abuse. Love should mean protecting the vulnerable from the dangerous, even when the dangerous person is your own family. We learned that lesson too late, and Mason paid the price for our failure.
The Campbell family case prompted significant changes in Kentucky's approach to domestic violence and family abuse cases. The state legislature passed Mason's law, requiring mandatory reporting of suspected family violence and eliminating the family member exemption that had previously allowed relatives to refuse cooperation with abuse investigations. Law enforcement agencies implemented new protocols for investigating missing persons cases involving family violence, including immediate forensic examination of family homes and mandatory interviews with all household members. The case also highlighted the need for better mental health resources in rural communities, where access to counseling and intervention services is often limited. Prosecutors used the Campbell case to train other attorneys on recognizing patterns of family violence and building cases even when victims are reluctant to testify. Most importantly, the case demonstrated that family loyalty, when misguided, can become complicity in violence. The Campbell family's decades-long pattern of protecting Owen at Mason's expense created the conditions that made murder inevitable. Legal experts now point to this case as a textbook example of how enabling behavior can escalate family dysfunction into criminal violence. The changes prompted by Mason Campbell's death have already prevented other tragedies, but the price paid for these lessons was too high. One young man's life was sacrificed because a family chose reputation over responsibility, secrecy over safety, and loyalty to an abuser over protection of a victim. The Campbell family tragedy teaches us that sometimes the greatest evil comes disguised as family loyalty. Robert and Dorothy Campbell thought they were protecting their family by hiding Owen's violence, but they were actually enabling a killer. Their misguided love cost Mason Campbell his life and destroyed everyone they claimed to be protecting. This case reminds us that real love requires courage, the courage to confront dangerous behavior, to seek help when needed, and to protect the innocent even when doing so tears families apart. Mason Campbell deserved a family that would fight for his safety rather than enable his abuser. He deserved grandparents who would choose his protection over their reputation. He deserved a community that would intervene when they heard signs of violence. Most of all, he deserved to live. The Campbell family's choices robbed Mason of his future, his dreams, and his chance to build the life he wanted. Their tragedy serves as a warning to every family. Love without boundaries becomes enablement, and enablement becomes complicity. In the judgment room, we honor Mason Campbell's memory by speaking the truth his family tried to hide. Owen Campbell will spend the rest of his life in prison, paying for the violence his family enabled. Robert and Dorothy Campbell will live forever with the knowledge that their choices killed their grandson, and Mason Campbell's story will serve as a reminder that family loyalty must never come at the cost of justice. In the judgment room, only facts matter, and the facts demand accountability.